Hello. Tonight we're going to be in chapters 4, 5, and 6 of Judges. And this is a story that's not super well known, but pretty well known. We certainly know the name of Deborah, a judge. It's interesting that the fourth judge that's mentioned is a woman, without any reference to why or how she was called. She's referred to as a prophetess, and she had a place where she would go and people would come to her and ask her questions, and she would settle disputes. And when they were having problems, she was the one to try to deal with that. They were continuing to have problems, and they were dealing with the folks around them, the other Canaanites. And so they've been oppressed for 20 years. The Lord has handed them over because they're not following him. So we remember when we talked back in Genesis and then again in Joshua, about the fact that Canaan, the grandson of Noah, was supposed to be punished. He was supposed to be, his descendants were supposed to be servants of his father's descendants, and Shem. And that's not happening. It happened under Joshua, but it's not happening now under the rule of the judges. And so they call out to the Lord, and the Lord responds by giving his prophetess Deborah a call. She calls Barak. Barak is the Israelite commander. She says, the Lord says he's going to be with you. Go take care of this problem. Take care of Sisera, who's the leader of the Canaanites. And he says, I don't think so. I'll go, but I want you to go with me. She says, that's fine. I'll go with you, but understand that because you're not going by yourself, someone else is going to get the credit for it. And we'll see how that plays out. So they go, they have a battle. Barak defeats the Canaanites. Sisera runs away on foot, it says, because he has all these chariots, but his chariots are being destroyed. And so he runs away and he goes into the tent of Jael. And Jael is a woman, and she is not an Israelite. She's a Kenite. And if you remember, the clan of the Kenites is the same group that from Midian, I'm assuming, because it's the same clan as Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, was a Kenite. And so anyway, she calls him in, and he says, well, protect me. So she hides him under a cloth. And then when he falls asleep, she puts a tent peg through his temple and basically nails him to the ground, and he's dead. And then Barak comes, and they recognize her as a great deliverer. So Jael gets the credit, not Barak. Then you get to the next chapter, chapter 5, and it's the Song of Deborah, and it's going to be recounting all the different things that the Lord has done. And if you remember, this goes back and is kind of a parallel to the song of Moses and Miriam when the Lord frees them crossing the Red Sea. We're going to see it again. There's multiple songs in the Old Testament. Hannah is the next one I'm thinking of off the top of my head, and when she has Samuel. And then, of course, we have the entire book of Psalms. And so this idea of preserving the history in the form of song is something that's very common. And then you get to chapter 6, and it is our introduction to Gideon. So now Deborah has died, and the people have, it opens up chapter 6 exactly the same way. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord one more time. And so they're being oppressed for 7 years, and everybody's hiding. And so the angel of the Lord appears to Gideon, and he says, hello, mighty warrior. Gideon doesn't know what he's talking about. And then there's a couple of experiences that he goes through with doing things that the Lord has asked him to do. He's torn down altars to Baal. His father was a Baal worshiper. Ultimately, he's told to go take care of the problem with the Midianites. I just lost their name. I think it's Midianites, excuse me. But anyway, he does that, and before he starts into that, he has to decide if the Lord's really with him. And that's it. The chapter 6 ends with the famous decision where he says, put the fleece out and have dew on the ground and nothing on the fleece. Put the fleece out, have dew on the fleece and dry ground. And that's how that chapter ends. So I hope you enjoy. It's an interesting chapter, and we will talk again tomorrow. God bless you.